ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the WorkShop Studio and Micro-Brewery Channel. I am your host, Leo J. Bailey, and today is Brew Day. Woot! It's also, I'm going to do a quick review. I got a lot to talk about. I'm not going to show you a lot of footage of the brewing stuff because I like to change it up. I have a lot to talk about and a lot to ask and see whether or not what your opinions are of stuff. First order of business of the day. On the vinyl today is the legendary Bela Fleck from, you might know him nowadays over the last 30 years from Bela Fleck and the Fleck Tones with the legendary bassist Victor Wooten. He's been doing that for 30 plus years, but before that he was in a band called Newgrass Revival, which I saw at least a dozen times over the course of the 80s. He had joined them in the very, very early 80s at like 19 years old, and they were a progressive bluegrass band. This is a solo album he did in 1983 that just happens to feature all of the members of Newgrass Revival, plus the drummer Kenny Malone, legendary Nashville guy, fiddle player Mark O'Connor, and legendary dobro player Mr. Jerry Douglas. So that's what's on the vinyl, but let me turn this down just a tick, of all things. That's a little better. Couple things. Let's see, brew-wise. I've still got about 5 bottles of the not necessarily Irish and not so red ale in the refrigerator. I have, beginning its second week of primary, I have 3 gallons of the Citrophonic IPA, which is my standard IPA recipe with just different hops. Now this one's got a lot of Citra, but it's also got Warrior and Centennial. That is just beginning its second week. In the keg, currently carbonating, is my Quarantine Cream Ale. That's getting interesting because that was kind of a mistake. Some things went a little awry, and when I kegged it, after about 3 days, I tasted it, and it still had that very, because it's a traditional cream ale, no lactose, none of that stuff. But what I found interesting is that the first tasting of it, about 4 days in, it still had a lot of those kind of German malt characters to it, kind of bitter. Now, after a full week, I tasted it last night, and it's smooth and it's kind of bready. So I'm curious. We're hoping I'm going to transfer that into the smaller keg and bottle the rest of it, and I'll have that up here on the tap maybe next week. Today is Sunday. What is it? Sunday, April 26th, and I'm going to post this up for Homebrew Wednesday. So I guess maybe the week after that we'll do a tasting on that. We got, of course, the big brew day on May 2nd. The thing to talk about today is where I have the most questions, because I ordered a bunch of materials, supplies, and they didn't come in on time. And I still wanted to brew. I meant to brew yesterday, but I still had a slight touch of the IPA flu. Stone, specifically. That particular strand. So I just really didn't feel like doing much yesterday. Today, however, I need to get to business. And I just reached in the refrigerator and grabbed everything that I've had left over. Pulled everything out, kind of went through to figure out what I may or may not have, and I kind of came up with something. Now, whether this is going to work, I have no idea, but I can tell you that I have what is going to be called the Remains of the Day Black IPA. I'm going to put a lot of information up because you fellow brew tubers, I would very much like your opinion. Not that it's going to do me any good today, but I'd like to know whether anybody thinks this is going to work out or not in the end. So this is what we got going, but let's do a quick review. If you're going to brew a black IPA, have a black IPA. I've never had this. Uh-oh. This comes from New Realm Brewing, which they have a brewery in Georgia, and they also have a brewery in Virginia. This is called Parting Shot Black IPA. Holy crap, it's an 8%. Oh Lord, that's going to start my day. They say, Parting Shot drinks like an IPA but is deep black in color. Subtle roasty notes support dry, hop-forward character. Color, deep black. Unique ingredients. Brewed with Warrior, Simcoe, and Amarillo hops plus dehusked black malt. Well, my particular version, I've got some Warrior, but I have no Amarillo or Simcoe. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Let's see what this is all about. New Realm Brew. Jesus. Yep. I can barely see any color coming through that. Very, very hop forward, very aromatic. I've used Amarillo hops before, and I'm wondering if that's what I'm getting from here. Anyway, cheers, people. Happy Homebrew Wednesday coming up. A lot of bite right up front. Fairly balanced. It's kind of bitter, but it's fairly balanced. I'm getting a little bit of lacing. Got a nice head on it. The roasted notes come out towards the end. It's got a decent malt body to it. For an 8%, and as hoppy as that appears to be, it's actually got a really good amount of body, but the roasted notes seem to come out towards the tail end of that. Woo! That's going to be good. All right. And no, I still haven't shaved or trimmed. I'm starting to get in trouble around the house. She is, the wife and producer of this show is starting to become very displeased with me. All right. Remains of the day. This beer, this is what was left over, man. This is the best I can configure I got happening. I have 61% of my grain bill is going to be 2-row. About 5 pounds. 9% is going to be Flaked Oats. 6% is going to be Maris Otter Pale. 6% Crystal 120. That helped get my color up. 6% Biscuit Malt. I have no idea what I'm thinking there. It's a Belgian Biscuit Malt. Don't have a clue what that's going to do. 3% Midnight Wheat, which is going to be perfect for color. And 3% Roasted Barley, which should give me some roasted notes. Now, that alone is a little dicey. It's the hops that I think are going to be my biggest problem. We shall see. Tell me what you think. I'd love to know what y'all think is going to happen here. It's a bunch. I had so many leftover hops, it was ridiculous. Just little bits and pieces here. At 60 minutes, I'm going to put in about a ½ ounce of Warrior and a ¼ ounce of Centennial. At 30 minutes in, I'm going to put in ¼ ounce of Columbus. At 15 minutes, a ½ ounce of Challenger. At 10 minutes, a ¼ ounce of Mount Hood, and in 5 minutes, a ½ ounce of Cascade. I don't know what I'm thinking. I really don't. Now, after looking at that particular profile, I realized there was a couple things that were a little dicey. My ABV initially showed it like 6.1, somewhere in that range. And I felt with that much hop, I needed to boost the alcohol up a little bit. Now, I've never done this before, but I'm going to throw in, what is it, ½ pound, 8 ounces of corn sugar, maybe the last 5 minutes of the boil, in hopes to bring that up. Now, this is where things really get weird, because according to my calculations, I should end up, I've got a target original gravity of 1.078, final of 1.020, We'll see how that works. I've got, Lord have mercy, the IBUs on this are going to be 81. So I'm hoping I'm hoping that things balance out a little bit. I'm also going to mash in slightly higher than usual. I'm going to mash in at like 156 and then mash out at 170. And now for the last weird thing of the day is the only leftover yeast I have is two packages of Safale SO4, which is for like a dry British ale, or some liquid White Yeast London 3. I have no idea what the London 3 would do, so I'm going to stay away from that. Tell me if you think I'm right or wrong, and I'm going to do the SO4. I have no clue how this is going to work out. I will keep you informed as we go along, and I guess I better get my ass in here and get to work. Start grinding everything up, get a full brew day in. I'll get this up Wednesday. Hope you dig it. Give me your thoughts. Any questions on the vinyl? Any questions on New Realm Black IPA? Or my stupidity of what I am about to do for the day? Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Cheers, people. Talk at you soon. Yeah.